Very good morning. This is Dr. Ravi S. Pandey. Health, piety, and peace by spirit, Ayurveda, modern yoga, and science. My vision and mission of life is already published in American Journal of Biomedical Research recently on May 15, 2014. So, dear wise men of intellect, know that the materialistic human body is genetically controlled, environmentally modulated, and controlled by unknown deluding power, Maya, or ultimate in the current period of time. Lust, anger, greed, pride, jealous, duplicity, perversity, hypocrisy, malice, heresy, pride, infatuation, concupiscence, and arrogance pervade the whole universe. All are unreal, even though remedy is unknown. In this presidential address, I am bringing the new insights of these invisible agents and their remedies in association with diseases of mind, brain, and body to provide complete health, doctrine, and peace to whole world. The available, unfathomable universe, spirit, Haiti, Vedas, Puranas, Agams, modern yoga, and science has been churned out in the laboratory of nature, and nectar-like medicine has been discovered in the form of Ayurvedic yoga, devotion, wisdom, and dispassion. In brief, the root cause of disease is the unreal concept of universe, that is duality. Where is duality? In real fact, this does not exist, and we all are just sleeping in the night of delusion. All the human beings are bound to live their life under the three humors, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and three states: awaken, dream, or sound sleep. Under the management of nature, as slave of desire, senses, and mind. Indeed, all are suffering by time, faith, merit, demerit, or disposition. But exact reason is unknown. In this, my approach is to bring the hypothesis of evenness theory in scientific society, as the time is constant. Only the dangerous waves of ignorance are flowing in the current period of time in all over universe under steep condition I and others have studied the level of DNA, RNA, and protein that is visible. Thus, we believe science with complete confidence and faith. Is there any remedy available to eradicate these invincible factors of diseases? Yes. Interestingly, in the laboratory of nature, I have developed the remedies for these invincible factors along with an Ayurvedic formulation for the treatment of vitiligo. Considering the very limit of science and tremendous grief of whole universe, I worked little hard to develop some nectar type medicine and in stage to reframe the universe by providing health, doctrine, and peace. The keyword is health, piety, peace, spirit, Ayurveda, modern yoga, and science. So we can introduce with a absolute confidence that I took the charge to eradicate all the diseases of mind, brain, and body and luminarize the globe by stabilizing the peaceful world in next 20 years. I shall endeavor to hold the great tradition of the goal. I have been participating in the welfare of society for more than 21 years at different capacities like full scientist, distinguished scientist, and now as the director and president of World Health, Piety and Peace Center, WHPPC. Let us start the origin of thought, word, and deed is basically dependent upon the environment in which a creature lives. The environment constitutes elements blowing in the form of winds and waves and affecting three forms of state of body: awakened, dream and sound sleep, and moods, that is Prakriti, divine, human, and demon, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. As described in Ayurveda, the derangement of these three cause birth of diseases of mind and body, that is invisible and beyond injunction and realization. Under these state and mood of mind and body, indeed, everybody suffers, but very rare people realize to some extent. Thus, no one took the charge of these from thought, word, and deed, as problems still exist in the vision of Vedas, Puranas, religious scriptures, and me, all are under the influence of invincible factors of diluting potency, ignorance, and its generals and counselors, and innumerable armies. The mysterious potency of diluting power could be resolved and establishment of happy and peaceful world in next 20 years is absolutely possible with the help of spirit, devotion, wisdom, doctrine, Vedas, Puranas, Agams, modern yoga, and science. Considering the tremendous sorrow and grief of whole world and the value of old religious scripture, I have taken the charge of director and president to profess the whole world for ultimately welfare, that is peace. Let us start with basic. A human body, mind is universe, laden with inordinate greed. This is originated from desire as the demand of senses instead of the command of invisible, pure, absolute soul. People are obeying the mind. I consider this is because of ignorance. Is there any device available that can develop pure mind under ignorance? Thus, frankly writing, I shall not find even a single man of wisdom in whole world, even in USA. I have concluded that is whole world is under the slave of senses, desires, and mind. Then I started working directly with nature, aloof from the world, in transcendent state of mind. The state could be attained only by quietism of worldly attachment. Under this state of mind, I have seen that people around the globe are partially or fully steeped in ignorance. In fact, this is unreal, even though it has most valiant three generals: lust, anger, and greed, along with three counselors, that is, pride, jealous, and infatuation. All these are six impurities of materialistic body. Unnecessarily, people have cultured and the growth of progeny are pervading in the whole universe in the form of doubts, duplicity, perversity, hypocrisy, malice, heresy, concupiscence, and arrogance, and acting as armies. I encourage the audience and reviewer by informing that remedies of ignorance in the form of wisdom is absolutely available. Each of honorable predecessors had delivered their presidential address on a specific theme throughout the world since long time. I too will like to do the same in unique way and strictly for only ultimate human welfare, that is peace. The theme of my address is health, piety, and peace by spirit, Ayurveda, yoga, and science. Although the objective seems to be impossible, but dear reviewer, mind it that the word possible is hidden in it. The study has been carried out under the laboratory of nature, under pure, limpid, and transcendental state of mind. In this study, the invincible factors have been discovered against deluding potency that is beyond the reach of the science of ignorance, nescience. During my stay in United States, I was able to study the role of antisense molecules in prevention of alternative splicing in spinal muscular atrophy. This genetic disease is caused by a single mutation. One day, 2013, a novel mixture of oligos was developed, seeing it all 2010. In an independent study, I have analyzed all the 48,804 human genes known in the literature, Chaudhary et al. 2010. Even though we could not hope about the invincible factors by genetic or the molecular level, therefore it was the need of whole universe to think beyond the genetics and molecular biology. I do not feel any sorry to write. It is really a matter of shame for all of us that even knowing that all are made up of same elements of universe, even though we have a vision of duality because of our ignorance only. Under this state, I simply want to arise a simple concern. Where is duality? All the men of intellect are absolutely free to organize a meeting with immediate effect, collect the remedies and distribute throughout the world, and thus enjoy the real happy and peaceful life as soon as people want, by teaching the realm of human birth, wisdom, and all that I already described. Thus, this is my sincere alertness to get aware all the people around the globe that all of you are imbued in unreal ignorance and it associates as described above. As a follower of history, I was able to prevent the maximum such impurities in my life, except anger and worldly attachment. Now, these two invincible army factors of ignorance also wiped away by my sincere approach and God grace. Reference letter by a day that inspired me to take the charge to pull out the entire universe from the night of delusion. At this stage, it's my humble request to reviewer to not to allow their mind in pride under the influence of these invincible cause diseases of mind directly make a grief and affect the immune system of the people, causing susceptibility of pathogens. At this stage, people are compelled to face the diseases, awe and grief, infatuation, which is the root of all ailments, and from these again arise many other troubles. In brief, ignorance of mind causes the origin of lust, that is a counterpart of inordinate greed and correspond to an abundance of phlegm, kapha, while anger represents bile, pitta, which is responsible for the entire digestive and metabolic functions, which constantly affect the heart, the craving for the manifold pleasures of the sense, so difficult to realize, or the various distemper, grudging contemplation of others' happiness represents consumption, while weakness and perversity decreases the immune strength and people will become more prone to pathogens. Egoism is the counterpart of most painful goal, clotting of blood vessels, while hypocrisy, deceit, arrogance and pride correspond to the disease known as dracontiasis, thirst for enjoyment represents the most advanced types of dropsy, while the three types of craving, those for progeny, riches, and honor, correspond to the violent quaternoid, jealousy, and thoughtlessness are the two types of fever which are progenitor of duplicity and concupiscence, that is the root cause of innumerable disorder of mind, ultimately reduced human life span, the quick aging, the solution of several such potential invincible problems is absolutely available with me, as exception is always exist in almost every system. I lived a real human life for 39 years without greed, lust, arrogance, infatuation, deceit, pride, and concupiscence, with complete purity transparency, and honesty. People around the globe are witness and proofs in pure and true sense of my perception and inference after a thorough study of plenty of subjects like basic science, biochemistry, biotechnology, molecular biology, Ayurveda, spiritual study of different scriptures for a period of more than 21 years as an independent person. The origin of this study and proposal came out for the ultimate human welfare of the society. Broader question of the long-term effect of the states on mental disorder remains unanswered till the day upon implementation of doctrine and health, the world will be free from all the sins, diseases of mind and body, and ultimately demonic traits could be wiped out, and people will live happy and peaceful life as a true sense of human birth. Through this note, I have opened my vision and mission of my rest of the life. I found that no one on this earth is even able to realize the level of problem as things are growing day by day without any break. I promise to resolve the mystery of complications and disorders in order to provide real peace to the world. I not only hypothesize, even ready for eradication of maximum of such dangerous traits by systematic development of human brain and mind via doctrine of human life, wisdom, devotion, Ayurveda, yoga, spirit, and modern science together. My laboratory is woods, forest, consisting of banyan, neem, and people, trees, spiritual thoughts, words and deeds, along with complete Ayurvedic and yogic lifestyle, are known to be reverted winds and waves of the environment. Tulsidas ji mentioned in Ramacharitamanasa in 1566 around, where all the creatures can alive with complete freedom and peace. Thus, using the doctrine of modern science, Ayurveda and yoga and spirit, eradication of root cause of numerous diseases of mind, infatuation along with its associates like lust, anger, greed, arrogance, and jealous of demonic men can be transformed into the right direction of divinity and humanity, and ultimately towards the peace. It is thus high time I put this occult phenomena of spiritualism to the scrutiny by modern science and study it systematically utilizing our knowledge and advances made in various physical sciences, neurosciences, including neurophysiology, cybernetics, and other fields. Scientific understanding of spiritualism may enlighten us on those various issues of day-to-day concern to every curious mind, including the phenomenon of life after life. It may provide holistic approach in improving the mental health care for the afflicted, preventive and promoting mental health gains to the individual, improving the family ties, restoring better social order. It may benefit the whole nation and humanity at large at global plane. Let us now examine the relevant issue in detail. So the waves flowing around the globe in the scenario of world development, the Kali Yuga is the age of downfall, that is the fourth stage. The corruption gradually develops wider in the earlier stages. This stage is the climax stage when the world finally meets a judgment day at the end of it. As said in Hindu scripture, it's not known when the end comes, but it's believed that we still have a long way to go. Indeed, it is terrible and assumed to be much more in future. Thus, I have initiated the research, keeping myself aloof from the world. I like to get aware all in my presidential address, the true description story after my own experience of more than 20 years of independent life in this birth. I like to narrate the truth in sweet and gentle words, imbued with the nectar of greatest wisdom, dispassion, and devotion, as no one is a source of delight or pain to another. Everyone reaps the fruit of one's own action. I am describing a few peculiar of waves of the seas for ultimate human welfare. Please do not pardon me if I will be found to be wrong. Review this real note with complete wisdom, dedication, and devotion. Almost every man and woman is given over to sin. Every virtue has been engulfed by the sins of Kali. All good books have been almost disappeared. Impostors had promulgated a number of creeds which people had invented out of their own wit. The people have been fallen a prey to delusion and all pious acts have been swallowed by greed. No one follows the duty of one's own doctrine, and the four stages ashram of life also disappear. Every man and woman takes delight in revolting against the founder science known as Vedas. The kings are bleeding their subjects. No one respects the injunction of the Vedas. The right course for every individual is that which one takes a fancy to. A man of erudition is he who plays the braggart, whoever launches spurious undertaking and is given over to hypocrisy. Him does everyone call a saint, like Asabapu, a well-known person as a world preceptor. He alone is clever, who robs another of his wealth. He who puts up false appearance is an he who puts up false appearances is an ardent follower of established usages. He who is lying and is clever at joking is spoken of as a man of parts in this age. He alone who is a reprobate and has abandoned the path of Vedas is a man of wisdom and dispassion in this age. He alone who has grown big nails and long locks of matted hair is a renowned ascetic in this age. They alone who put on an unsightly garb and ornaments eat anything and everything, no matter whether it is worth eating or not, or esteemed. They alone are perfect men, and they are worth adoring. People who are of maleficent conduct are held in great esteem, and they alone are worthy of honor. Even so, they alone who are babblers in thought, word, and deed are orators dominated by women. Dear reviewer, all men are dancing to their tune like a monkey controlled by its trainer. All men are given over to sensuality and greed and irascible too, and are hostile to absolute and founder of science Vedas as well as to the same. Unfortunate wives desert their accomplished and handsome husband and bestow their heart on a paramour. Wives having their husband alive have no ornament on their person, while widows are adorning themselves in the latest style. The disciple and the preceptors severely resemble a deaf man and blind man. The one would not listen while the other cannot see. A spiritual guide who robs his disciple of money but fails to rid him of his sorrow is cast into a terrible hell. Parents call their children and teach them such religion as may fill their belly. Men and women talk nothing else than the knowledge of Brahma, Absolute, while in their greed they would kill a Brahman, or for the matter of that, even their own spiritual guide, for sake of single cell, they alone who are covetous of another's wife and are clever at whiles and steeped in delusion, malice, and worldly attachment, are enlightened men swearing by identity of the individual soul will with Brahma. Such is the practice I have seen in this age. Doom themselves, such people bring ruin even to those rare souls who tread the path of virtue. All men follow a course of conduct of their own imagination. The endless variety of wrongdoing cannot be described in words. Men perpetrate sins and reap suffering, terror, disease, sorrow, and desolation. Overcome by delusion, they walk not in the path of devotion. The so-called recluses build themselves houses and furnish them at considerable expense. This person is no more to be seen in them, the same having been wiped out by their sensuality. Men drive out a well-born and virtuous wife and bring home some servant girl costing to the winds, all good. You say, sons respect their father and mother only so long as they have not seen the face of their wife. From the time they take a fancy to their wife's kinsfolk, they begin to look upon their own people as their enemies. Kings get addicted to sin and cease to have anything to do with doctrine. Men practice japa, the muttering of prayers, austerity, penance, and charity, perform sacrifices, and undertake sacred vow with some unholy motive. Women have no ornament except their tresses and have an enormous appetite, though miserable for want of money. They are rich in attachment of various kinds, though hankering after happiness. They love not piety, stupid as they are, though they are poor in wits, their mind is hardened and knows no tenderness. As for men, they are tormented with diseases and find no enjoyment anywhere. They are conceited and content with others without any rhythm or reason. Man's life is short, extending not more than 50 to 60 years. Yet in their pride, they reckon on surviving the end of creation. The age of Kali has driven men mad. No one respects the sanctity even of one sister or daughter. There is no contentment nor discernment nor composure. People of all classes, whether high or low, have taken to begging, envy, harsh words, and covetousness are rampant, while evenness of mind is absent. People are all smitten with bereavement and deep sorrow. The duties and rules of conduct prescribed for the full order of society and stages in life are neglected. Self-control, charity, compassion, and wisdom disappear while stupidity and fraud multiply to a large extent. Men and women are pampered their body while slanderers are diffused all over the world. Please understand it. The age is a storehouse of impurities and vices. Is there any remedy available in whole universe to eradicate these traits? Can it be possible? There are so many potential questions are resolved in this presidential address. I am about to describe systematically and final emancipation. Emancipation is possible in this age without any exertion if understood with wisdom, devotion, and faith. The theory of mindness is in need of immediate change into evenness, wasting of human and money power in science require stopping a systematic understanding about the reality will be helpful towards the establishment of peace. Role of spiritualism in health. In a human body, the soul is a particle of the divinity, immortal and conscious, untainted by deluding potency and blissful by nature. Spiritualism is considered as a advanced science of spirit, which is concerned with the higher aspect of life. It is synonymous with religion and philosophy, usually considered beyond the realm of modern physical science. It carries different meaning from one part of the globe to the other part, and from one group of persons to the other. But everyone seems to agree that the spiritual aspect of one's life is intimately related to development of brain efficiency and mental processes, that is mind, and affect the psychic function of an individual. To me, the spirituality in all its aspects seem to be a function of functioning human brain. My knowledge of life science is enough deep for understanding the human mind and the phenomenon of our inward dwelling about complete health, harmony and peace. Problems are my concern as much yours. To what affects the mind or the psyche of a person. As we go through the annals of history of mankind on our planet, it appears that the spiritualism in its various forms had been in existence since eternity, and what happens after one's death had been the query of every mind. Reports and writing of prophecies and precognition, apparitions, thought transference, and clairvoyance keeps on bogging our head and make us feel that we, the scientist and healer of mind, still do not understand the human mind in all its propensity and potentialities. Psychobiophysics and psychobiology does not find any distinct place in our curriculum of mental studies. If we have to believe the spiritualism of various psychic phenomena put on record, there exists no doubt that it consists of a good body of facts, and spiritualism is an old age science out of focus from the present day scientific mind. Scanning of literature, it revealed in the Western country during the last few centuries, spiritualism was rampant. It is believed to do something with supernatural and continuity of life after death. The possibility of communication between dead and living through the agency of a medium was well recognized and documented. Ford Murray, 1910. A medium is a person with unusual sensitivity which enables him to be readily controlled by this embodied spirit. A medium formed a link between dead and living. What qualified a person to be the more piece of supernatural was not known. Besides, spiritualist was known to carry certain power in varying proportion through which they were able to perceive and communicate beyond time and space. They were able to exhibit certain physical manifestations such as materialization of spirit, form, a portion, that is production of material object by supposedly occult means at a spiritualistic sense, moving off inanimate objects without any visual contact and performing other mystic feats like going to trance state, through reading, crystal gazing, levitation, that is rising and floating in air, automatic writing and slate writing, etc. The spiritualism by many was considered to be the act and influence of spirits of the disease, the witchcraft, demonic possession, poltergeist, disturbance, and animal magnetism was considered to be part of it. The concept of animal magnetism was first described by the illustrious, famous physician Paracelsus, but it was French Anthony Mesmer in 1776 who united the two phases of this magnetic philosophy, as per which a force radiates from every substance, animate as well as inanimate, including heavenly bodies, that is, planets and humans beings, making them to interact. The Mesmer's animal magnetism was utilized to introduce hypnotic trance. The term mesmerism came in vogue, and hypnotism, which was a part of spiritualism, was used as a treatment modality for some diseases. Mesmerism was later replaced by the new doctrine of suggestion advanced by Paris physician Alexander Bertrand in 1823. The doctrine of suggestion, as we all know, still holds good in the present day practice of psychiatry. The hypnosis still form a modality for treatment of some diseases. Rickenback in 1845 demonstrated the existence of an emanation caloric force radiating from each substances, which can be seen by the clairvoyants. The German investigators Jung and others recorded the phenomenon of clairvoyance in the air. Somnambulism in France. Planchel in 1853 invented a simple instrument, giving it his name, and used it for spirit communication. Alan Kardec attributed the phenomenon as inferior phase of spiritualism and expressed belief in reincarnation as the wave of this spiritualism swept in Europe and America. During the last century, many people started practicing trickeries and fraud. This brought under cloud the gentility of those reports. The rationalists disbelieved these so-called spiritualistic phenomenon, but were unable to refute them on many occasions. I consider those people as a dull-witted and holistic for absolute to investigate those claims The Society of Psychical Research was established in 1882 in UK, which made the first organized and united attempt to study those spiritualistic claims in a purely scientific, impartial, and unbiased manner, avoiding cautiously any prejudice and preconceived approach. They call the psychical phenomenon and could detect great deal of fraud in mediumistic performance like slate writing and other physical manifestations. About 17,000 cases of apparitions of the dead and living were collected and studied. The apparitions coinciding with death or other crises were found to occur much in excess than that could be ascribed to chance alone, which testified the occurrence of apparition and accredited the phenomenon of telepathy and thought conference. But the report about telepathic power where a few similar psychical phenomenon and mystic feats are reported from India and other countries also. I appreciate those efforts, but simultaneously I would like to report that people of above mentioned organization as a slave of deluding potency. I also like to state that one can be hate if I will be found wrong at any level. I could not ask for any pardon. Thus it is my humble request to review the next with great attention, devotion, and wisdom. While I say in constant state of mind, after about 20 years, 4 months and 50 days exile in the worldwood for a period of 40 days, analyzed various critical questions like, can there be anger without duality or duality without ignorance? Can an individual soul, dull, finite, and subject to deluding potency, ever be on a par with absolute? Can suffering ensue from solicitude for others' well-being? Can anyone possessing the philosopher's stone suffer from want any longer? Can the malevolent be free from anxiety? Can the sensualist escape obloquy? Can one's posterity survive even though one has persecuted the pious soul? Can one continue to perform action with attachment even after attaining self-realization? Has anyone acquired sound wisdom while living in the company of vicious. Can an adulterer attain a happy destiny? Can those who have realized God fall again into the ocean of transmigration? Can the revilers of absolute be ever happy? Can a kingdom stand without the knowledge of statecraft? Can sin persist even after one has commenced narrating supreme exploits with complete devotion? Can one enjoy sacred renown without religious merit? And can anyone earn a bad reputation without a sin? Is there any gain as valuable as devotion, which is glorified alike by saints as well as by the Vedas and Puranas? Is there any loss in this world as grievous as that of man who fails to follow and adore Absolute, even after obtaining human birth? Is there any other sin so bad as backbiting, or any virtue as great as compassion? Dear people of globe, in this way I mentally advance numberless arguments in my favor and took the choice to eradicate the sins from the world with reverence. During the course of my study, I have developed a medicine for vitiligo using Ayurvedic ingredients that has complete power to eradicate white patches if used under the devotional state of mind. This opens an area for genes regulating the synthesis of melanin and death of melanocytes. Video 1 revealed the development of melanin on my own body. So effect of the genes on devotion on human health. Since January 18 to February 27, 2004, I have been under meditation and transcend the state of mind. I found almost everyone, men and women, is given over the sin, and they are slumbering in the night of delusion. The world is steeped in lust, anger, arrogance, and greed only, pulling out people from such demon states by speech. Devotion would be my first priority as a true thinker. Dear reviewer, read carefully about the virtue of devotion, which has been linked to a jewel. The effulgence from gem of devotion sheds its radiance day and night. He in whose mind such jewels abide is not hunted by poverty in the shade of infatuation. No blast of greed can ever extinguish this light which dispels the overpowering gloom of ignorance and the swarms of moth in the shape of vanity, etc. It keeps away from it in a mood of frustration and anxiety. Vicious propensities like lust dare not approach him in whose heart mind is given. Mind is the dam of devotion abides. For those below could be transformed into ambrosia, and in me turn into friends. Nobody can attain happiness without this jewel. Again, people never attacked by the terrible mental diseases from which all living beings are grievously suffered, all in whose heart the gem of devotion abide cannot have the least woe, even in a dream. They alone are paragons of wisdom in this world, who is spared no pains to secure this gem, although this jewel is manifest in the world. None can find it without the development of evenness and love for absolute. In our ancient science like Vedas and Puranas and the stories of Lord, many glories, minds located in their midst has been represented. The saints are expert mineralogists and their penetrating intellect, the peak of while spiritual wisdom and dispassion are two eyes. Any individual who looks for it with faith succeeds in discovering the gems of devotion, a means of all blessing. Realizing this, whoever cultivates the fellowship of saints find devotion to absolute. Now, the role of telepathy in human health. Telepathy means intercommunication between one brain and other brain by means other than that of ordinary sense channels. It has a bearing on all psychic phenomenon. Many cases are on record where most vivid impressions have been transmitted from a distance. It is believed that telepathic communication goes direct from one mind to another, irrespective of the distance. The trivial circumstances can be transmitted to a percipient near at a hand, while as a rule only the more intense and violent impressions are received from a distance. The theory of thought transference is no new one. It is said to be a daughter of hoary science of astrology. Ford Murray, 1902, was the exponent of theory of telepathy. The telepathy experiments were conducted long back by Signikin in 1889 to 1901. Since that time onwards, increasing body of scientific opinion is developing, favoring the presence of this sunrise mode of communication, which may be within a reasonable distance of becoming an acknowledged fact. The mechanism of telepathy is generally supposed so far to be in the form of eight unknown etherical vibration or brain waves, the study of coincidental hallucination, hallucinatory apparitions coinciding the death of a person represented or with some other crisis in one's life are also attributed to the phenomenon of telepathy. So, role of clairvoyance on human health. The term denoting the supposed super normal faculty of seeing person and events which are distant in time and place and of which no knowledge can reach to the seers through the normal sense channel. There are three types of clairvoyance or retrocognition: perception of past, premonition, perception of future events, perception contemporary events happening at a distance outside the range of normal vision. What telepathy is in auditory modality, clairvoyance is in visual modality based on clairvoyant experience. The great prophecies have been made to illustrate this. I shall quote the bestseller, widely acclaimed to explain the prophecies. Erika Chethan, 1975, has made some unbelievable observation. To quote him, the modern disciple of Einstein recognizes nothing but an eternal present, which was also what the ancient mystic believed. If the future exists already, then precognition is a fact. The whole trend of advanced knowledge is to place the laws of physics in a four-dimension quantum, that is the eternal present. If this is so, then past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Perhaps it is only our unconsciousness in form of arrogance, of mindness, that moves. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears a very absolute concept that time is static and unconsciousness is moving. The philosophy is real and quite a thought-provoking one. It may mean similar to as with the primitive man who observed the moving sun and believed that earth is static, or like a passenger in train who seeing the moving horizon forget for a while the speeding train. We know that both sun and earth are in motion, so it may not be improper if it is to believe that like sun and earth in motion, It is the time as well as our consciousness. Both are in relative motions, maintaining the fixed proportion or ratio. So now the effect of trance state on development of mind. So trance state is found to occur in mystic and men of proven spiritual attainment other than those suffering from psychomotor seizure and in a state of possession, but the qualities of experience differ. The stage of samadhi or eternal bliss, which is also called state of superconsciousness, is not definitely devoid of dissociation. We in psychiatry understand the dissociation, meaning the disruption of normal integration of cognition, affect, behavior, sensation, and identity. This may range from day dreaming and transient lapses in attention through phenomenon, the pathological failure at Chinsar and McFarlane 1994, which are well known to all of us, but very little work is done to know the psychophysical basis and psychophysiological and biochemical correlates during the purpose of dissociation. My study revealed that under the trance state of brain, one can wipe out all the impurities, ignorance of the body system. So, the concept of reincarnation. Reincarnation means entry of souls into another body after death. The doctrine of reincarnation is about in a large part of Asia and particularly by Vedanta philosophy and various other religious philosophy like Buddhism and Jainism. Its evidences are found in Greek thought, Zoroastrian scripture, and others. Existence after death presupposes existence before birth as per Vedanta philosophy and other Eastern thought. Doctrine of reincarnation is associated with the doctrine of deed, karma. The main is reborn, attainment of their fulfillment, liberate the soul from the chain that ties him to the wheel of birth and rebirth. Vivekananda ji. Similar thoughts are shared by Scottish philosopher and historian David Hume. Theosophists believe in astral form, a body called astral body, which parts away from the physical body on death and moves in astral world. The astral philosophy essentially remains same as that of Vedanta philosophy on this subject, with some minor difference. I shall have gone into the detail of this subject, which is in the realm of religion and philosophy and found the science at the level of bank of wisdom only. However, it will be worth mentioning here that the study of reincarnation type of cases is gaining recognition by the scientific community world over, and claims the children who says that they remember previous lives have been under investigation in many cultures, both in the East as well as in the West. The work done at Nimhans at Bangalore in India during last few decades is worthy of appreciation. Thousands of cases investigated so far by different workers around the globe. Stevenson 1974 and 75, and analysis of the date had shown certain common features which points towards the universality and some authenticity authenticity of the phenomenon. The investigation of the phenomenon of survival of bodily death by Moody 1975, as reported in his book Life After Life, is also worth acknowledging. If that is so, then it appears that folklore, mythology, and religious philosophy, which is shared universally since ancient time, has definitely evoked scientific wisdom. It remains to the present day scientific community to work out the high-tech modality and develop equipment to seize once again the stark reality. I am here every day to direct the areas to resolve the potency of deluding power. Now, the spiritualism in India, and many Eastern countries is recognized as the way of life with eternal joy and bliss beyond the precinct of sense pleasure. It is identified with something super conscious, supernatural, and towards divinity. Spiritual inspirations are considered as a rare blessing, and it is not only believed that thought of path of spiritualism, a man attains perfection and ultimate desires fulfillment is possible. The spiritual experiences not only brings the knowledge of superconsciousness, but also solves the problems of unconscious mind. The spiritual joy is considered more super than the intellectual joy, which in turn is higher than the sense pleasures, as it does not lead to frustration and disappointment, but provide ultimate satisfaction. Yati Swamanda, 1979. The Indian Vedanta's philosophy describes four approaches for making advance in the spiritual life, namely Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Out of these four yogas, Raja Yoga shows the path of meditation, which may be the direct concern to all the people around the globe. Patanjali The great sage was the chief exponent of this yoga. He considered 8 stages called Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, moral conduct, encompassing truthfulness, non-violence, chastity, control of greed, non-covetousness, and non-dependence on others, niyamas, self-discipline, contentment, and cleanliness, asana, postural exercises, pranayam, control of prana, subtle life energy by regulating breathing, pratyahara, withdrawal of senses from the external world, and introspection, dharana, concentration, dhyan, meditation, and its samadhi, superconscious experience. To attain superconscious state, one is required to pass through first 7 stages. Yoga has been a subject of great research. It is found to be of positive help in stress management and relief of anxiety and mental tension. Via 1973, Sahai 1982, Delva Murthy 1983, D'Souza 1984. Dhyana or meditation is an important stage through which, depending upon the state of achievement, a person enters into the stage of samadhi, a state of blissful trance, a state of super consciousness and supreme awareness, where the mind transcends the various psychic phenomena described earlier, are the manifestations of the psychic power one attains during the process of attainment of this state of superconsciousness. They have been described by the different persons who had spiritual attainment. Meditations stabilize the autonomic nervous system and make a person withstand environmental stresses better. Or Johnson 1973, Vancouver 1978, EEG recording during meditation had shown better synchrony of the alpha and beta frequencies. Woolfolk 1975, West 1979. There are many methods of meditation which transcendental meditation, vipassana meditation, Precidential, Precidential, and others. A Mahapurush or the Guru guides his disciple in the finger approach at sensitive stage. Vipassana meditation is an ancient Indian method of meditation which was followed in the East and Southeast Asian countries since the time of Gautam Buddha. The Lord, the methods involve observance of sila, moral conduct, anapana, awareness of breathing, vedana, feeling of sensation, and other ancient methods. Precidential is taken from Jainism. It reported to lead one to a spiritual path, reduces and relieve the various tensions of mind and improve the physical and mental health of the person practicing it regularly as per Bhamagra 1990. Spiritual dimension of health pervades all the other dimensions of health, that is physical, mental and social. The Vipassana meditation may also help in de-addiction. Scholars 1990. For that purpose, I may add any type of meditation, if followed regularly, may help in de-addiction, as they all advocated the similar prerequisites and practices. I shall not go in the detail of yoga and meditation here, as they are aptly described by their proponents. Mysterious energy field or psychophysiologist had been the view that there is something like bioenergy recognizing the animal magnetic force of mesmer, Odic force of Reichenbach, and rays of Blondeau bioplasmic energy of Soviet scientists, and psychotronic energy described by Jack scientists. Most of them are agreement regarding the general characteristic of this energy. Skull and Pate 1975, that do not abide by the various physical laws. The experiments with psychotronic generates and with Kirlian photography are being conducted to understand this human psychic force and to identify it under the known law of physics, whatever it may be. People around the globe do not yet know what it is, neither all are able to accept it nor refute the claim. I am here to address all the real facts to all the world's men of wisdom. There is a saying worth quoting here, that is, all that glitter is not gold. I too, like most of you, firmly believe in it, but unless there is existence of gold somewhere, no one would be talking about its glitter. Hence, ladies and gentlemen, you would like to agree with me that even if a grain of truth is found in all that what we have deliberated upon so far, it is worth continuing to know further. Back pain is a very common complaint. According to Mayo Clinic, USA, approximately 80% of all Americans will have low back pain at least one of their lives. In India, the risk of cervical backache, arthritis, sciatica, gastric, sugar, leukorrhea, headache, migraine, waist pain, muscles pain, and blood pressures are increasing day by day. The factors causing such painful disease are stress, pregnancy, sedentary lifestyle, aging, anxiety, depression, gender. Back pain is more common among females than males. Obesity, overweight, smoking, strenuous physical exercise, and physical work. Under these environments, medical treatment for said diseases is not much successful. Modern yoga has ability to cure all the said diseases. About 10,000 people have been cured in the plenty of came cybernetics, the science of system control the communion in animal and human brain had provided many clues about electrophysiological and biophysical functioning of brain. These clues provided the possibility of developing the artificial intelligence which lead to the development of present-day computer science. Today, we know how helpful the computer are in every walk of our life. When we look back and think about human brain and its potentialities, it became apparent that it is a very magnificent and highly developed, rather evolved electromagnetic organ. We can identify in it presence of various electromagnetic gadgetry developed by man. If we look at the cybernetics in the reverse way, the visual perfection right from retina to occipital cortex will never appear. A beautiful and very efficient closed circuit TV camera and TV set. Our ear and auditory perceptions from eardrum, though auditory nerve to the cortical area are similar to the telephonic system. Memory is like a tape recorder, calculating faculty like calculator, intellectual faculty is alike to the computer in the brain. If that is so, then what is left out or missing a radio? It is difficult to believe that radio, which was made by man much before the other gadgets, would not exist in a human brain. radio phenomenon in human brain. When acknowledged as a scientific fact, it would be able to solve and explain many of puzzles. It may provide better understanding and acceptance of various occult in spiritual phenomenon. The evidence in its favor is already provided by the various observances made by different groups working with ESP, that is extrasensory perception and thought transference or telepathy. Was the radio phenomenon in human brain is proved, it will be easy to understand the phenomenon of clairvoyance. Also, by radio phenomenon, I mean communication beyond time and space by means other than known physical contact or through speaking, reading and writing. I have called brain a most highly evolved electromagnetic organ. The structure of this highly evolved organ is not a physical one as that of man-made gadgetry, but is a biological structure. As we know, the biological material is self-developing, self-evolving and self-reproducing, capable of training or learning and self-repairing one. It is interdependent to the system and body. It belongs to its survival and functioning depend on the genetic coding it received and the oxygen and nutrition it is supplied with for its metabolic needs. Each neuron, the functioning unit of the brain, is a very sophisticated, high-tech workshop in itself, dealing not only with various molecules and atoms, but subatomic particles as well. The functions in a very precise, recorded manner. We must also understand that the laws of physics remain same for both the inanimate as well as animate, but they are cast into a biological mode. For animates, radio phenomenon seems to be a dormant faculty of brain which could be achieved and developed with certain practices, which I think yogis and spiritual persons are better qualified for. Its experimental demonstration become difficult as it may need live human brain where the phenomenon is activated and already developed. However, certain experiments conducted on human volunteers at the Yoga Lab of Defense Physiological Laboratory at Delhi for the study of Agnihotra, a Vedic ritual toward enhancing tranquility by Selva Murthy, 1989, revealed starting finding. Selva Murthy attributed these results to the effects of mantras. Golka et al. Used Agnihotra procedure as an adjunct in the treatment of drug abuse and alcoholism. They found clinically demonstrable positive effects of enhanced tranquility in the subject. The effect was of the degree that counterbalanced the urge for drugs and alcohol. It was hypothesized that this positive effect could have been due to the changes in the electromagnetic milieu supporting the subjects, which was brought about by Agnihotra due to lightning of the fire in the Agnihotra copper pots. There occur emanation of some energy which might have enhanced or amplified the EMM prevailing at the prescribed timing of sunrise and sunset. The cosmic rhythm of EMM prevailing at the time of sunrise and sunset are known to be mind-soothing. The finding of delta wave suppression and alpha activation as recorded on computerized EEG during Agnihotra in the frontal lobes indicate that there exists some mode of non-contact communication between Agnihotra energy pod and neuronal group producing the FCG effect. This may be through the imminence certain electromagnetic waves whose frequency and amplitude is not known and requires be ascertained. Once ascertained, this may help to break some ice about neurophysiological phenomenon or finding a neuronal group in frontal prefrontal area responding to this cordless waves form of communication which may come to our rescue for demonstrating and acknowledging the much talked about radio phenomenon in human brain, and the further dedicated research may dispel the various myths about telepathy and thought transference and may throw better light on the occult phenomenon. Already a sea of scientific data is getting accumulated regarding effect of geomagnetic field on the brain, which I shall touch upon shortly. So, electromagnetic milieu, when we have a global look at the spectrum of electromagnetic field, one may get flabbergasted for a while and cannot save himself from pondering on the mythological concept of power, Shakti. The spectrum of energy, that is the electromagnetic waves, could be divided into the two broad groups, the ionizing group of electromagnetic waves encompassing under nuclear radiation, X-ray, gamma rays, and cosmic rays are high frequency. They carry enough energy to project electrons out of their orbit, whereas non-ionizing electromagnetic waves are of low frequency, which includes ultraviolet, visible spectrum, Vibgyor, infrared, microwaves, lasers, short waves, middle waves, and long waves used in radio, TV, and space communication, that is satellite and interplanetary communication. It will not be wrong if I say that we are surrounded and engulfed not by the shades of light and darkness or heat of cold, but by the different frequencies and amplitudes of perceptible and imperceptible energy, form of electromagnetic milieu, all throughout our life, wherever we are, and in both states of waking and sleep, being a highly evolved and sophisticated electromagnetic organ, it is likely to respond to the change in the surrounding electromagnetic milieu, whose rhythm keeps on altering depending upon the geomagnetism, magnetic field, and solar cosmic radiation and eminence from other similar sources, mental health and neurophysiological correlates of EMM. So the biological effects of various radiations are known to us to a great extent. Case report of effects of microwaves producing psychic changes are on record. The seasonal affective disorder is a well documented and extensively studied entity. The effect of light therapy is also well accepted. Ronald K. 1994. The pineal gland has been shown to be sensitive to changes in the magnetic field. Exposure in laboratory animal, the alteration in geomagnetic field is associated with decreased serotonin, Nestil transferase activity. Welker et al. 1983. Decreased pincalocyte electrical activity and decreased melatonic synthesis. The pulse field at geomagnetic field strength increases non-adrenaline secretion by more than 25% in cloned neuronal cells in vitro. our retinal rods, which are the magnetoreceptor, are responsive to low energy change in geomagnetic field. Osage et al. 1985, which may also explain the effects of Agnihotra on human mind. The solar flare emanating charged particles produce geomagnetic storm, accounting for seasonal variation in the incidence of depression. It is also shown that in vivo magnetic field may affect pineal function via the complex adrenergic system, which also provide main innervation to pineal gland. It is now established that low energy geomagnetic field decreases the hydrophobic character of the cell membrane, leading to changes in its permeability and enhance calcium channel activity. Persing Cran Lequest 1983 in their study described up to 4Y7C variation in daily mood of subject, which can be accounted for by the daily mean index of geomagnetic disturbances. A positive correlation was found in solar radio flux level and indices of geomagnetic ionosphere disturbances with monthly total psychiatric admission. Ravi et al. 1991. Thus, researchers find that the changes in electromagnetic milieu surrounding us have great effect on our mood, behavior, and psyche. Whether this provides any answer for the various psychical or spiritual phenomenon already discussed remain to be seen, in addition to available neuroendocrinal and neurophysiological investigations. Advances made through the studies like positron emission tomography, PET, single photon emission tomography, SPECT, nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR, and functional magnetic resonance imaging spectroscopy. It is now possible to provide functional neuroanatomy of human emotion, both in normal state as well during mentally disordered state. George et al. 1995. The change in regional cerebral blood flow and other metabolic parameters have opened the door for more objective study of neuronal substrate involved in human emotional behavior. Through this innovation, it is now possible to map brain activity associated with emotion. Robinson 1995 and imaging the mind and functioning brain is not a four-phased thing. These advances associated with electrophysiological study through computerized EEG, evolved potential studies, and other means may be of great importance for the study of various psychophysiological and psychophysical changes occurring in the brain, and thus make it possible to study spiritualism further in all its dimensions. These efforts may be further supplemented by the physicists who are better knowledge about the geomagnetic phenomenon and electromagnetic waves, and contribute to the concept of electromagnetic milieu affecting human brain. They may also help to identify the spectra which may act as brain waves during thought transference or telepathy. So coming down to discussion and conclusion, I found that the field of spiritualism encompassing various psychical and superpsychical phenomenon is of direct concern to not only psychiatrists, psychologists, and neuroscientists, but to the whole mankind. Better understanding of various psychophysical phenomena and role of electromagnetic milieu in the psychophysiology of the thought, emotion, and behavior may provide never avenues to peep into the phenomenology of various psychiatric illness. Time is stagnant. Only the waves of lust, anger, greed, arrogance, jealous, and infatuation are flowing throughout the universe. The knowledge of wisdom can be gained only by dispassion and true preceptor. The knowledge gained with further research in this direction may lead to change in the attitude of mankind towards real life, which may be of ultimate benefit to all, and a balanced approach, equalizing materialism with spiritualism, may provide more fruitful and meaningful life for all of humanity. Devotion to Absolute would provide the real joy of life. Health, piety, and peace are possible by spirit, Ayurveda, modern yoga, and science. In brief, there are three wills most formidable of all: lust, anger, and greed. In an instant, they distract the mind of hermits who are the very repository of wisdom. The weapons of greed are desire and hypocrisy, of lust, not but women, while angers, weapon a harsh speech. I so declare, after my deep thought, anger, lust, greed, pride, and delusions, all these get eliminated. Thought, the devotion in absolute He who wins the favor of that divine player is never deluded by his jugglery. I like to tell the world my own realization. The only element of reality is true love for all in this universe, considering the fact that all are made up with the same element, saints are rounding around the globe, whose heart devoid of pride and infatuation, the wise take of the possessive, the fruits of one's meritorious deeds appears at the appointed time, neither sooner nor later. Only rare soul comes to develop devotion to Absolute with thought, word, and deed. Eradication of impurities from materialistic body will wipe out all the sins, and people will enjoy the happy and peaceful life as a real gain of human birth. Based on evenness theory, I have developed the following four objectives of my next 20 years of life are as follows. Eradication of root cause of diseases of mind and body from the world by the gnosis of modern science, Ayurveda, yoga, devotion, and spirit. The B, treatment of arthritis, cervical, backache, sciatica, gastric, sugar, leukorrhea, headaches, migraine, waist pain, and muscle pain by modern yoga. Foundation for the doctrine of piety and human life is my third objective, and the D is establishment of sub-center and institutions in all the countries around the globe. The mysterious potency of deluding power could be resolved from the center. As such, there is pressing need to address world for the ultimate human welfare in the form of happy and peaceful life, which is under the control of mind and not obeying the command of the soul. Thus, tremendous grief appeared in whole universe. All seems to be self-murderer. Thus, I encourage all the existing seers, saints, sages, adepts, preceptor, theophist, chief of the world organizations, vice chancellors of universities, presidents, prime ministers, director, scientist, professor, governing body, men of religions and philosophy to answer me, where is duality? As such, this does not exist. Spread the evenness theory and eradicate the basic six impurities as described. The scientific evidence could be generated and the foolproof scientific understanding of phenomenon is immediate need to develop that was still out of the sight. Considering the grief of whole universe, I have developed the devices using the existing knowledge of history, yoga, Ayurveda, and science to unite the knot and reframe the universe by providing health, piety, and peace from this world center. There are plenty of research waiting for pure servant who is absolutely pure from thought, word, and deed. In case world will provide me opportunity, 20 years is more than sufficient for reverting the whole universe into the happiness and peace. So with this, I would like to acknowledge my sincere thanks to the novel adept of Sri Ramacharitamanasa, Sri Lallan Dubeji, a Vice President and Assistant Director, World Health, Piety and Peace Center, for his providing all the facilities. I consider him a man of wisdom and devotion on this earth, for an intellectual person. So with this, thank you very much for your proper devotion, discussion, and intellect. I hope the men of intellect definitely understand my vision of this presidential address. I just kept whole universe in my hand. Now the time is waiting for me, when few of the men of intellect of this world, maybe whoever, I could not identify even a single person as a man of wisdom. So whoever wants to accompany with thought, word and deed can join me for their selfishness only, not for my luxurious life. I have rid of all the impurities. Now this is my humble request, joining both of my palms to understand the fact of reality, the fact of real life, and live your life with happiness and peace. Dr. Ravi Shankar Pandey, President and Director, along with her distinguished scientists of World Health, Piety and Peace Center, Panchniviya, Seshkepura, Belwan, Padri, Mirzapur, UP, India 230001. So please share your hand and speak Rama. Glory to Rama. Sri Ramaji is an example of absolute how to live a real human life, and with firm belief and sense, I know he has been shown the real traits of absolute on this earth, and no one others except Sri Ramaji. So बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, हर